VUT students. My name is Fogazi Lamini, a third year public relations student, and with me today I have Dr. Mazibuko, who is a psychologist. The main reason why we have her here today is we're raising awareness against mental health. So we're going to dig into what is mental health, what comes with the profession of being a psychologist. And yeah, there's more that we had. It's just a very brief interview. Firstly, thank you so much for making it to Vaal University of Technology. I think it's important for our students to learn more than out of VUT, for them to learn more about their mental health and how they can be aware of their mental health. So thank you so much for making it this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, I would like you to introduce yourself. I've already said you're Dr. Mazibuko, but the floor is yours.
I'm Dr. Machabedi Mazibuko. I work here at VUT. I'm the HOD for the Student Counseling and Support. Yeah,
Okay.
I always work with students.
So what I'm going to do before we get into the serious stuff, I'm going to just give you rapid fire burning questions just so we get comfortable and people get to know you a bit better. So the life of a psychologist who works in campus. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
I think how I have to think and reflect on my day, my last day. You say it's in the morning.
Yes, in the morning.
So think about what went on the previous day. How best can I improve on what I believe and think that I didn't do well? And I also think of what am I going to be doing to make a difference in the life of the students and the children that I'll be meeting throughout the day.
Next question. So I only have 3 rapid questions for you. Would you like a cup of coffee or a cup of tea? So what's the first thing you walk into? Is it a cup of coffee or a cup of tea?
None of the two.
What's that?
In the morning,
Yes. Or in general, what's your preferred drink?
it's water.
Water. And then lastly, sunrise or sunset for Dr. Mazibuko? Sunset or sunrise vibes?
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Okay, we're gonna get into the questions right now, guys. As a professional, how would you define mental health? You know, we all have our ways of defining it, but like as a professional person who's already in that industry, how do you define mental health?
I would say mental health has to do with the psychological, emotional, social, and physical well-being.
And how does one identify a mental health disorder? Let's talk outside of the professional space. Like before I can go to a professional, how do I identify that I have a problem with my mental health, or I should actually seek? What are the signs that people should look out for before we come to someone like you?
You'll obviously feel that something is not okay with you. You're not doing things the same way. You might find that you are still young, you're not my age, but you are forgetful. And you know, you leave a room, go into the, say you leave your bedroom, go into the kitchen, and when you come to the kitchen, you don't remember what is it that you wanted to do. And you go back and you say, oh, by the way, I was going to drink water.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to think about drinking water, but you can forget that, you know.
Since you say you work with a lot of students, there's a lot of mental health disorders. There's anxiety, PTSD. What's the most common you've come across working with my peers and people our age on campus?
It's stress and panic disorder, as well as anxiety.
And what do you think is caused by that? What are the main, not what do you think, what are the main causes of disorders such as anxiety and stress?
For the students, it's either they're not doing well in their courses, or they have chosen wrong courses. When a student leaves home, at home they might want, I want my daughter to be an engineer, whereas that is not her interest, and she's forced to come and take courses or modules towards engineering. Unfortunately, that does not make her happy. It doesn't make her day. So that disparity brings in stress, anxiety, and all that.
And then when we talk about mental health, we all have the stigma that everyone who says I have a mental health disorder without saying I have anxiety or PTSD, we all think depression. How do you think you can remove the stigma of depression being the parent or the main let me call it the parents of all mental health disorders. How can we make people aware that there's other things?
I think it's just to tell people that everyone goes through a period where he will or she will go through the depression.
Okay.
So that people don't think that depression is the mental health illness. It is an illness like any other illness, and people should know also that when things are not going right, you are definitely going to feel bad, and when you feel bad about yourself, you're going to be prone to either depression or even anxiety.
Also, let's now step out of talking to students, because now this is going to be seen by the public at large, the VUT public at large. How can people get in contact with, I know there's a hotline of iCares. How can people from the VUT community or our VUT students get in contact with you when they feel like they need counseling or anything? How can they get in contact with you?
If you go to the student counseling Facebook, we've got details there of who you can contact. They make appointments through the administrators, and the administrator then allocates the person to a therapist or a psychologist or a registered counselor. And if you're around campus, when you pass our door, we've got our details there. And we also have an email address. It's at scs.vut.ac.za.
So at acs.vut.ac.za.
Yes.
Okay, noted. And when I talk to most students, because they're my peers, they're my classmates, most people always identify mental disorders with being in hospital, being hospitalized, being in the psych ward. How do you think we can break that border that they have, that it's not always going to be, it doesn't always have to be chronic, you can always reach out to someone, or how do you think we can close that gap?
Education is the best thing. Students need to talk about their mental health, and students need to not to hide it. You know, they hide that they've got problems, and that is why we always think, okay, depression is the thing. So if students know that in every 10 people, one will suffer from mental health or even depression, and they should also know that if it's depression, it is curable. 80% of people who suffer from depression do get assistance. They need to reach out, and they also need to know that it is okay not to be okay. You don't have to feel elated all the time. There are times when you feel down, and you just have to talk about it.
Most of us also have parents who are, fortunately for you, you are educated in that department. What can you say to our parents? Because when you go back home and you tell them you're stressed, it's like, or when they see you failing, they don't see it as a sign of something is going on. They just think the child is lazy. How can we educate our parents, or what can you say to younger people? They probably someone in the office who has a child who's been acting somehow, because it all starts with behavior, especially for our peers. How can we promote the enlightenment of mental health?
I said education is the best. Yes, psychoeducation is always the best. When you know, I mean, when you're a child, you know, a daughter or a son, to your parents, you also know their capabilities. And when you come and you talk about a topic, you will know, or you will sense if this topic is, you know, bringing some butterflies to their minds. So you broach it gradually, that you know there is something like this, and it does not mean that I am mad. People are even afraid. Students that are learned, that are here on campus, they are afraid to come and ask for help, because they feel when they go to our offices, others are going to say, oh, that one is a loony. It's not like that. We also go through such things. We go through that a patch of in our lives where we go out and we seek help. So you talk to your parents and you talk to them. You tell them. Sometimes there are on radios, there are such topics. You ask and encourage your parents, listen, mama, they're talking about this illness that I was talking about. It's an illness. It's not madness.
Okay. I'm so happy that we got to speak to you. We know that you have a very restricted time frame and you're a very busy woman. But thank you so much for coming through. I hope more people are enlightened by this video, and I hope that it reaches out to the right people. People can come through to your office and you know that you're always available. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It is always a pleasure to know that I will make a difference in the life of one student.
One student is a lot.
Thank you.
Please. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dlamini and this is Dr. Mazibugo. Until next time, let's go back.